able to change your garment every single day if you want. What do I mean? Because if you start to change or to make something artificial from my identity, because I said, in a way, the fashion is, you remember the look by Alessandro Masserdotti? Fashion is multiplication of phases. It is that. Without that, there is no fashion. There is just a uniform, and there is, again, a sort of prison. If you cannot change your garment if you want every single day, then it's not that you are no more in fashion, you are in a system of uniforms. You decide one single day what is your face, and that's it. But this becomes like, this is a prison. It's not it's not freedom, it's not fashion, it's something which is even worse than it was before. That's why change and the possibility of instant change should be there. The problem is not change in itself, it's not the ratio of this change, it's the fact that the ratio is decided by some criteria which are linked with the massive global scale market, which today has led designers to like draw 13 collections in a year, which is stupid, just stupid, because it has nothing to do with freedom or with creation. And we have perhaps to break this link, not the possibility of changing phases or multiplicate phases, but the fact that those phases or the rate of the change is decided by these big companies. But this is not, again, a problem of marketing, because the problem is not marketing in itself. It's a very old model of marketing, in the sense that why are those big brands problematic? Because they are the 20th century, 19th century model. It's a very stupid way to be global. And also, from an economic point of view, we just saw that with what happened with Gucci, with Balenciaga. And now there are companies that in the 60s try to link haute couture, so the production of very creative individual pieces, with ready-to-wear products. And at the beginning, it was a very good idea for the reasons you told, in order to insufflate creativity in masses. And it was amazing, the idea that there is a person who can look at what happened. You spoke about gender. Look at what happened when Alessandro Masserdotti changed the very simple idea of what does it mean to have a gender, and introduced this idea that was called gender ambiguity, gender fluidity, which is a fact that every gender is at least two genders at the same time. He changed or he gave freedom to billions of people. That's why it's interesting. But on the other side, the problem is today that those big companies are alive, not because they are selling ideas or real garments, just because they are selling shoes, bags, perfumes, and makeup accessories, which is like, again, a very, very stupid marketing idea. So I think that the problem is we have, of course, to change the system. We do not have the right, as you said, to say to people who want a change in Tehran or no, now you have to wear the same stuff for like your life. It would be a sort of very colonialist attitude. But we have to change the market idea. And perhaps just, sorry, because there is something which is happening in Paris, as I was telling you a couple of hours ago, which is interesting. In Paris, which in my opinion is still, I'm very imperialistic now, the capital of fashion, there is like, I don't know, 15, 20 schools of fashion schools. And normally in those schools, the people had a sort of veneration for big companies like, I cannot tell the name, but, and this is changing. They do not want anymore to work there, because they are perfectly aware of the fact that they are very toxic environments, and it was a couple of months ago, the CEO of Chanel went to one of the schools funded by companies like that, and one student asked the question, how do you manage to sell so ugly stuff in such a massive way? So that has led to the fact that now CEOs do not want anymore to speak with students. And companies had a huge problem to recruit people, a huge problem in France now. They do not know how to bring people in. And what is happening, and that's a way of changing, is, for instance, that very young designers now think of their career no more in the luxury industry, but working with art galleries. Because if you are doing if you want to do haute couture, so single pieces, very complicated, very expensive. If you don't want to have to produce shoes for like billions of people, you can work with a gallery. You can sell, in a way, stuff within a gallery. So from my point of view, the key point will be also, but this is also what you told, to invent new market solutions against those models which are dinosaurs today, even in the idea of globality, because all those empires are not global anymore. So I don't know if it was a...
Thank you.
That's really true, because after 20 years of fast fashion, now you have to tell, to the world, what you did so far, it's wrong. Now you have to change and go back in the old way of thinking. If we think about the armchairs that we do have, they're completely, I do really love the vintage shop, no? Just if you see the size of the armchairs, they're completely different than now. Nowadays, the armchairs are really huge because we need space because we're collecting lots of stuff, so we need more space to store for the storage. And we do need it. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. But this is the new way of thinking. Now we have to teach, again, to the people, what we need to do for the future, to reduce, to make them understand that they can play. Because what you say was really true. I was part of the fashion, now I'm more in the sustainable way of thinking. I was part of the fashion shows, the ready-to-wear. I was in material research, and especially for the fashion shows, they don't care about the results, the final results of the impact on the audience. They just want to spread the message. The message they want to, even the new designer, they want to create like a high fashion quality, and there is no there's no market for that. There's just for few people. If you're talking about sustainability, you have to spread the message all over the world, because as they did for the fast fashion, they spread the message all over the world. They need 20 years to arrive to all the people, and they change the mindset. That's what we have to do. Think about it, spread the message, let them understand that what we did so far is wrong, rethink it. And even the words are important, because you were talking about greenwashing. If you're in the market, if you're just dealing with products, you know exactly that recycled stuff is more expensive than a new one. If you're talking about the recycled material, it's more expensive. If you're talking about recycled wool, it's more expensive than a virgin wool. It's unbelievable. And if you make a garment with the recycled stuff, it costs you more than make it with a conventional cotton or conventional wool. but you don't have traceability, you don't have anything, you have lots of margin. You have to make them understand that what they're buying is cost you more instead of it cost you less because it's recycled, because it's more responsible. You have to choose the right words for the copies, how to spread the message. It's really tough, and they don't understand because the market is really full of greenwashing. Sustainable. What does it mean, eco? The biodegradable. Everything is biodegradable, even the petrol. So it's not. It's just like you have to give numbers, but people don't understand numbers. Sometimes it's really tough, even for me, to understand numbers. No, what can I understand? You have to guide them in a proper way. And sometimes, yes, they're more expensive compared to the fast fashion. But now people they want to change it every day. They want to have more stuff and change and get rid of the stuff. Compared to the past, they repair it. They extend the life of the garments. That's what our grandparents and we did. So I mean, in the almost 30 years, 40 years. There's a nice documentary on Netflix, B.E.S.T, that is coming from the 70s. That all the fashion of the 80s is coming from a period where the people cannot afford any expensive garments, especially in London, in England. They couldn't afford the expensive garments, so they went to the thrift shops and collect all the items they could have it, and they reshaped the entire outfit, and they were cool, and the people they stopped following them, starting from David Bowie up to the Spandau Ballet, and then the massive way of thinking spread the message all over the 80s. And all the young generation are collecting garments from the 80s because it's more fun, it's more colored, it's more. There's a liberation, no? It's more free, and what you saw is like a mix and match of materials. And all the creative departments now they're starting selecting vintage stuff. They create the looks with the vintage. Because everything is going so fast, they don't have the time to think about a pocket or just a new shape, shoulder, and everything is pushing. We should, as Golden Goose, but not because I'm working with Golden Goose, we have just two seasons, winter and summer. So we thought about the collection, the message, the offer in the shops. We have lots of carryover styles that it means that you're not going to waste, and some items that are new during the years that you can refresh your wardrobe. This is the message. Sometimes we find out that we don't talk a lot about what we are doing, but this is the key elements of the circular world. Unite with greenwashing, because we are really, sometimes they spread the message, they're really free to talk about anything, and then last summer, just I heard about a commercial of an air company who said, fly with us without low impact flights. I said, oh, come on, if we're talking about the scope, all the transportation, flights are the most impactful way of transportation, and they said, fly with us. Just let me know why your flights are less impact than others, and then I could understand. No, sorry, sometimes I'm long, but it's circular, it's massive, it's all over. It's not just up to the brand. It's
holistic, as Max mentioned, no? Maybe.
Transportations.
I think there's so many things I would like to touch on now. maybe I'll come back to the transportation because, I mean, yes, flying is the worst way, but at the same time, flying, the whole flight industry only is 1% of the global footprint. There's way more other, I mean, flight shaming for me doesn't make sense. We should be shaming oil production, energy companies, etc. That would be the level for change. And I'm afraid quite often we are living in this time, there's not enough clarity. What is really the right things to do? I totally understand if somebody goes into flight shaming because they feel this is something I can do here. But it is not an efficient way that kind of would empower the real transformation because you're wasting your energy on something that is not so relevant. And I'm always, in Germany at least, I'm not sure if it's here, in Germany I can always bring this one interesting example of the organic cucumber in plastic. This is so contradictory from the idea, from what you see. If you start understanding organic, you know, natural, lovely, it's better for me, and then you go to a supermarket and you find your organic cucumber in plastic, and you're like, what the fuck? But if you look into the logic behind it, it makes a lot of sense. The plastic, I mean, we need to take care that it doesn't go to the ocean, but just as a protective layer in the moment, the impact on the footprint of the cucumber is minimal, but it can prolong the life of the cucumber by weeks. So without it, the cucumber is gone after a few days. Maybe with it, it's an eco climate. You can keep it much longer. These things are really complicated, and the question is, that's why I mean, we can't rely on the consumers. They can't take the time to do these things. We, as experts, as organizations, every organization that has a bit more processing power than an individual should try to help to clarify what is really things that make sense to do and that are directly impactful positively. Because otherwise we end up with ideas, and every day we're living in a time where opinions are sometimes stronger than facts. And that's, again, very dangerous in this game. Also, why greenwashing is so dangerous, because I don't think that there's only very few examples of greenwashing where I feel it's evil. I think mostly it's just unconscious, and like, you know, it's the reality of an agency, of a marketing department is quick, do this, do that, yeah, we do it, okay, fine, nice, next. So there's not enough time to be conscious about doing the right messaging in these things. And I think there is a lot of things we have to change, and a lot of relatively easy, but it's not easy as long as we are in the same pace, and yeah, we don't have any moments to stop and like kind of collaboratively think, let's do it maybe a bit better here or there. So yeah. Thank you.
Well, I would like to touch upon one of the many issues that have been raised now. And once again is this idea of the responsibility. Can you actually imagine that the major tool for capitalistic development has been limiting the responsibility of the capitalist, actually by creating the limited company idea. And that allowed for a gigantic boom in investments. You know? So if it costs very little, it's only because someone else is paying it. So again, we are still using tools in the economic world that were born 200-300 years ago out of this juridical accompaniment of the Industrial Revolution. But we begin to need to have unlimited responsibility companies, as we have unlimited responsibility peoples. Many artists or other activists I know, they tell you that they are unlimited responsibility bodies, which sounds like crazy, but probably is one of the ways ahead.
Emanuele, do you want? Thank you.
Just to stress what Max said, in the sense that I think, because it was also one of the first question about, and also the question of responsibility, I think that the solution it's really important to put the solution on the side of law and technology and not on the side of what normal people are doing. Because first of all, if you are putting the question just in this terms of we have to change the behavior of people, you are just doing, not politics, it's moralizing and patronizing people. And this is not so beautiful to me, but beyond that, there is, in my life, there was a very clear example of how stuff could be changed very quickly through law, through politics, and not through moral. That was the cigarettes. I don't know, you are too young, Damas, but I remember the very day, the very evening, where the law was like transformed into reality, and we were obliged to go out from restaurants to smoke or not smoke anymore. And I remember I was in Florence, I was living there, and everybody was telling me in Italy it will be impossible, everybody will still smoking inside. And actually 10 or 15 years later, everybody's thinking, how totally crazy were we to think that you can smoke in a restaurant or in a train. So just through real politics, which is lobbying and changing the law, you change the behavior of hundreds of millions of people without giving any message. You just changing what is allowed to do and not allowed to do. That's why it's more important for me to go to this level, and what Max said about the fact, in order to change the law, you have to know the technicalities. You have to know that it's quite stupid to reduce the flight consumption, also because it's important for democracy and so on. But you have to change something on another level. And that's also why politics is so important. Politics in the sense of your policy, because, for instance, there are very, very sensitive questions. If we start to say people should not, I don't know, take planes anymore, or if we start to say we do not have to, I don't know, to change garments, we can slightly go to the level of saying we do not have to, we are not allowed anymore to print books because it's the carbon impact is huge. We do not have anymore to make schools because it's so. That's why the decision of those kind, what has to be changed and what not, has really to be put on a very, very technical level or complex level, and has to be produced by law and not by just messages or moral discourses.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I would like to say thank you, everybody. It was an honor to having you here. It was very interesting, I guess. And thank you for the audience as well for being with us for these around 3 hours. And okay, see you in the afternoon with people involved into the workshop, and see you for lunch. Thank you very much. Thank you. Grazie mille. Grazie.